Good evening to all of you. As always, it's not Tuesday for myself, it's Monday. And I'm here, it's about 1:30 in the afternoon. It's a nice breeze, sun is shining, forecast looks really great. A small chance of some few raindrops on Thursday, nothing substantial. We're going to be cooling down to the end of the week. We are preparing for picking some more vineyard blocks, starting tomorrow morning, and then a little more on Thursday, Friday, looking at the forecast again. And so everything will start dribbling for the next 2-3 weeks. But for now, we already have seen that there was quite a bit of an influence on the character of the wine. If we think like in the same variety, like Merlot or Cabernet Franc, if we have in a more rainy vintage, some area of the state, due to the type of soil, they have a higher water retention. Some have a lower water retention. So in a vintage like this, where we have more rain than other seasons, we see that the field, the retained water, are producing wine that are yet very fragrant, but they're a bit lighter. They're not as dark in color, they're not as dense, they're not as rich. And the other one instead are producing wine with more depth, with more richness. Nothing new, something we know, but what really is important for us is to, of course, pick the grapes at the best time possible and use all the techniques of fermentation and aging. In the end, is going to be the most important thing, to taste every wine, every single parcels, which is fermented separate, aged separate, and then decide upon the characteristic how to use that wine for different blending options that we have. And you as well know, we have some wine, they range in the 60s, like Octagon. Other wines range in the 40s, the 30s, the 20s, and some in the mid to high teens. We on purpose retain such a structure, especially among the Bordeaux varietals, because it allows us, according to the season and not according to our sales forecast, to produce what is the best wine in this different level of price characteristics. And that to me is the most important thing that we're doing to guarantee, and not just guarantee, but to really witness when people visit us here at the estate in particular, say, I always had such a great time when I come to Barbera tasting wines. I never was disappointed. And the reason is that we are very judiciously doing this segmentation, to the point on some harvests like 2000, 2003, and 2011 to completely call off a vintage for Octagon, our premium red blend. And quite frequently also people ask, I bet it's very difficult and you have to be gifted to be able to taste the wine when it's 1 year old, or sometime in some cases younger for us, and determine how to blend it. Will it age well? Will it not age well? I would say it is difficult, especially if you are not trained. Although I like also to say at the same time that anybody can do it. There is a famous movie called Ratatouille. If you haven't watched the movie, it's a French word. If you cannot find the spelling, just use your iPhone or your device, it will correct it for you. But Ratatouille was a great cartoon about this young individual that gets thrown into the world of fine dining. And there is one line through the movie that says anybody can cook. And it's true, anybody can cook. It's also true that anybody can be a winemaker. I'm sorry for those that feel like you need to have a title. I have one, but I don't think it's necessary, although it's not a bad thing. What is important in life for a lot of trade type of work like this one is to have good mentorship. I was fortunate to have both my uncle and my father winemakers, so I learned from them. And then I learned from many other people throughout the years, traveling in my 20s all over the world, from California, upstate New York, Spain, Switzerland, meeting people and learning things, learning how to taste things, learning how to see the correlation from a certain varieties and the color it's supposed to have and the aromatics that's supposed to have. So with time, that's how you can do this, and it's not difficult. So if you ever thought, some of you wants to become a winemaker, don't think that you can do it. You need a lot of time, passion, and I have to say, if you're young and you don't feel like going to winemaking school, you can do it too. You can study on your own. Best thing to do it is travel a lot, visit different wine regions, different climate, different grapes. It can be done. How many winemakers will I have created today? Maybe 0, but maybe 1. And that one, it'd be cool maybe to meet the person in 10 years and say, you know, what's your video? What a great thing. I gave it a try, and that's it. So anyway, I'm out of the rabbit trail and I'm back here. And what else? Other thing important to know is that the end of this week on Friday we are releasing Nascent. We were talking about a week or so ago. And so if you have a chance, you want to come and try this beautiful dish we have created. It will be served at Palladio Restaurant and at the Library 1821. Come over, visit this weekend. So I'm going to just go through, show you some grapes. And today I'm going to show you some Nebbiolo, 2 different vineyards. And I want to show you a little bit the characteristic of these 2 vineyard sites. And I can't wait to pick Nebbiolo. Everybody knows it here. It's my favorite grape to drink also. But I just count for one person, okay? Don't get me wrong. I grew up in Piemonte where we drink this type of wine, which is a bit tart, a bit astringent, very, very drinkable. And you heard it, I'm gonna say it again, it was the first grape that I used when I was 14 to make my own batch of wine. So you have to hang with me. It is the best grape here at Barbasol, okay? Don't tell Fernando. Fernando is Cabernet Franc. Like, his last name is Franco, and so he likes Cabernet Franc for some reason very much. I don't blame it. That's another very important variety we grow here. So anyway, let's go down and watch some Nebbiolo. So this is one of the 2 vineyards of Nebbiolo I was mentioning before. This one you can see is on a soil which is quite meager. There is less topsoil, more rocks, more drainage, retains definitely less water. And so here, not just for you to concentrate on the cluster, but overall, besides they're beautiful, aren't they? Look at this. And not just concentrate on the cluster, but concentrate on the amount of foliage that you see here. And then when we go in the other vineyard, you will see a little bit of foliage there. It's going to be more intense, where the plants receive a little bit more water because of the soil profile, more vegetation. The vineyard, the vine put a bit more focus on growing the canopy and a little less into the ripening the cluster. So here we're going to have a bit more dense, intense color and tannin, astringency. And these 2 vineyards, they have 2 different expressions. One is very fragrant, not this one, the other one, very fragrant, but a bit lighter, a bit more gentle. This one is going to be also very fragrant, but it's going to be tighter, more rigid, more angular, require a bit more aging. And so blending the 2, it does bring 2 different wines per se. From this vineyard also, we will be releasing from the 2021 vintage. and some Nebbiolo that is going to be labeled as a single vineyard. We don't have a name yet for it. It's going to be another 2 or 3 are out. But a portion of this vineyard is blended with the other block. Delicious. And here I am in a different vineyard I was telling you about of Nebbiolo. This was planted in the 90s. And you can see how much more vegetation it's in this area because of more water retention, especially some area like this one. They're a bit more flat, they retain more. And so you see here what's going on. And you know, similarly the cluster Nebbiolo, the shape is there. To the untrained eye, it looks the same as the cluster I showed you before. Yet, to the taste, which also I have confirmed from taking a sample yesterday coincidentally, to the taste here you can perceive a bit more tartness, the sugar content is lower, the acidity of the grapes is higher, and they are a little less puckering. They are more gentle in the aftertaste, this cluster of Nebbiolo than the other vineyard, therefore producing 2 different style wines. And I'm really excited to have such a situation, such a diversity. That's what we like in blending. Some years one vineyard may produce a style that we like more, and variability for us is not a threat. For some growing region, variability is demonized, and especially areas they don't receive rain regularly. Rain comes and they go crazy. Oh my gosh, we got a half inch of rain during harvest. For us, it's quite opposite. We're very European when it comes to climate, especially some part of France and Italy share the same challenges, where they have a wet season, a dry season. And grape growers are the one that learn about the flexibility that is necessary. And I would say more than flexibility is adaptability to shifting of the condition. Of course, there are other elements in the cellar also that need to variate according to this type of fruit that comes in. But again, very excited to get close to pick some Nebbiolo. Also, all our migrant workers, our H2A migrant workers, they're starting to get very, very excited about going back home. They arrived here in early February, away from their family for all these months. We had a great party on Sunday. We had some friends, clients coming over. We had a beautiful barbecue all together. We had some great roasted meats and some salsa that were just excellent. We drank some beer instead of wine. And so I'm very excited for them. They were such a valuable team to work here in the heat, in the cold, in the snow when we are pruning. So I really want to thank them, and I toast to them with this cluster. There will be a glass of wine. But anyway, I'll see you again next week. Good news from Barboursville. Weather looks good again coming up. So I'll see you next Tuesday. Ciao.